Hello and welcome. Well, today we're about to leave Legoland Windsor and we are currently sat inside Legoland Windsor's car park and we're about to head over to the long stay car parking at Heathrow. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't know how long this is going to take, but there are buses you can catch literally over by where the brand new Golf is, and I have seen a bus with T5 written on the top, so it'd be interesting to see how long it will take by a car. So I've just cut myself off and actually decided to type it in onto the sat nav. Now it does say it should only take, depending on what way I go, either 26 minutes or 31 minutes. So obviously we'll take the shorter route and see if that is how long it will take. If this video is much longer than 26 minutes long, then you know something has seriously gone wrong. Then don't forget, from the actual long stay car park, we'll have to hop on a bus and then get to the main terminal itself. But with that being said, let's get to it. And away we go. So we're going to start up and just crack on. Now you can see by the length of this video, it was not horrific, and this is taking us to the actual long stay car park, which actually took ages to try and find a space because they're in the process of resurfacing quite a lot of different bits and pieces over there. So that's always good fun when you turn up and start to panic because you don't think there's enough room. So how it works is obviously you can just loop it around and you find the exit on the way out. It sounds more obvious than what it actually is, but they do sometimes have the exit arrow facing the other way, but now you've got one way in, one way out. The cones and everything have been changed and added. When the sat-nav starts shouting at me, I will try it and go quiet. But if you caught one of the first sort of highlight reel videos of things to come from Legoland Windsor, you would have noticed that there was absolutely nobody in the car park whatsoever. But for this bit, it was nice and simple. So these now are nice, quick, simple gates. They do read your reg, and then there you go, and then you're just good. So at one point, the gates were a little bit further down, and that always bottlenecked everybody up. So I would assume that in the evening it'll be both lanes on the way out. You can see the mini golf to the right hand side, and then you have got a different type of car park just down there. I'm not too sure if that's priority parking now or if that's just something slightly different. Now the booth to the left hand side now no longer will be used, I would imagine, because just here is where the ticket bit used to be, but you can see how far they have now moved it up. And obviously now you can start to interlink and walk between the golf, the hotels, and of course the new holiday village that has just opened up as well. But on the way down, it's 2 lanes down and 1 lane up. In the morning, it's 2 lanes up and 1 lane down. So there's somebody that will come down all the time and keep moving the cones over. But no, I was very lucky with regards to just how simple and easy it was. Now it's something that I've been meaning to do for a good amount of time. Again, there is a new channel available called Global Life Travels. That is all of the other travel bits and pieces that I do, which has a lot of this kind of information on with regards to different hotels, different accommodation, travel, how to get around, and of course all the other theme parks from around the world that are linked to the Legoland bits and pieces. But I just thought it might be quite handy to upload this on to the Brick Life Travels channel first, especially if you guys and girls are following the series. It keeps it a little bit easier to see, and if it helps you at all with regards to how easy it is either to get from Legoland to the airport, or if you are obviously going to be coming directly from the airport to stay at some of these hotels, which are fantastic, before they're moving on into London a little bit more. Left hand side is the parking. To the right hand side right now is the massive hotel. So you do have quite a lot of opportunity for the sake of half an hour to break your travel up. If you just wanted to come down this way, then you can move on a little bit further afield, especially if you are a Lego fan. But you can see it says thank you for visiting. You hit the roundabout and then we are going to be away. Now I've only taken one little bit off because I got stuck at a set of traffic lights forever, and that was just going to be really boring. But this is the roundabout that will bottleneck up really badly if you hit this at the wrong time. Now I left, I think, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I didn't have to fly for a good amount of time, but I needed to get changed in the actual truck. Then I needed to get from the long stay T2, T3 over to the T5 because that's where I was actually staying, and then obviously you then fly out in the evening and then you just head off and do all the travels. And I am currently uploading simultaneously the bits and pieces from Heathrow, Singapore, and of course Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So we managed to hit all sorts of different bits and pieces. And don't forget, they are available over both channels, and there's multiple uploads each week for both of these channels. But this now is literally just going to be a road trip, and say what you see with regards to how long it's going to take to get there. But the length of the video is 34 minutes in total. We're 5 minutes in, and I'm sure 4 minutes at the end of this is right by the airport, if not a little bit more than that, because the airport parking is so big. So it is well under half an hour to drive from the one to the other. And again, depending on the time that you're going to be doing it. So if you were, for example, to fly in later in the evening and then just stay at the hotel for a night or two to enjoy the theme park, the golf and everything else before carrying on with your other travels, especially if you're coming in from, say, like Billund and you want to compare those two, that would be a little bit more awkward because of the time of the flights, and you would actually end up flying out potentially from Stansted. Now, if you're flying out from Stansted, you will need to add on another hour because Stansted to Heathrow are not the closest two airports. And again, there is a third airport of Gatwick as well, but obviously Heathrow is the closest at where I've come from or where I'm going to get to the Legoland Park. Now, again, with regards to traffic, you've just got to imagine that sometimes this will bottleneck all the way up the other way. This, I think, was just temporary lights and some roadworks that were going on, but I have done this route quite a lot to get back, and sometimes if you hit it as you're leaving, you do get collared quite badly, and it could take a good 20 minutes just to get down this road. So take that with a pinch of salt with regards to how long you are going to need, but I think I gave myself an hour. From the time I left the car park to the time I wanted to get to the long stay, I gave myself an hour, and then I gave myself like another hour to get to T5, which would then give you the 3 hours required to do all the check-in and all of that nonsense. So I gave myself more than enough time than what I needed, and to be honest, there we go. And to shush. So to be honest, by the time I'd actually got into the T5, I had about just over 3 hours to check in, just because it did take. Oh, she's very angry. Yes, okay. So it did take a little while to get from the T2, T3 to the T5, because if you've never done that before, obviously you've got to get a bus to the either T2 or T3. It doesn't make a difference which one you want to go to, and then you head over to T5. So it's a nice walk. T5, you've then got to get a short train across, and then you've got a nice hike to the actual main check-in bit where you've got to go up all the different lifts and all the elevators and all that kind of thing. So that was a good exploration. I did film that kind of thing, but that will be in a completely separate upload of more of a highlight travel reel, basically how to get around the airport, and that will obviously be uploaded to the Global Life Travels channel because that is non-Lego related stuff. Now, if you are thinking of going to Legoland Windsor in 2024, what is it that you are looking forward to? So obviously they have opened up the new roller coaster now, which did look very impressive, where it goes forward and again it goes backwards, it comes back on itself. It looks like they've got quite a lot of work going at the Lego Friends, the Heart Lake City area. That was all sort of boarded and cornered off. There are videos. So Google Maps Live is very handy. That's what I've got. That's what we're listening to. So if there was a lot of traffic, it would just send us a completely different way. So it's very clear with the directions, and obviously you just basically listen to what she says and then you just carry on. Now, I do believe this is the bit that I cut because for some reason these lights stayed red for a good amount of time, and this is a big roundabout, so it wasn't this quick. So add on at least another minute or two before we carry on moving. In fact, I cut off a load and we're still stuck there, so we're about to head off in a second and then we will carry on now, I do believe. There we go, check that out. So yes, with regards to Heart Lake City, they'd obviously be in the process of doing a load of work. I wasn't too sure if they were filling the water in with regards to how shallow the water then looked, or if they just put a load of stones down just to be able to walk on it. But going by the comments for that Heart Lake City video, they're potentially getting ready for a pirate show. So that was something that it used to be way back when, before Lego Friends was themed as Lego Friends. So a bit of a quiz for you now, if you are still listening. What theming did it used to be before it was changed to Heart Lake City? Because it would be very, very interesting if any of you guys and girls can remember, because it has been themed as Lego Friends for a good while, and just doing that little wrap around, they had changed quite a few bits and pieces. There's a new eatery there. Obviously, it looks like they're getting ready for a new show. They had changed the actual shop name as well, so that is now under a completely different banner. It is under different characters as well, and it looks like they'd updated some of the fascia for a lot of those things. Now, weirdly, it's not a huge thing in some of the other Legoland parks around the world. So when we do the full tour of Legoland Malaysia, you'll notice that there isn't actually a Lego Friends there. So that is something to keep your eyes peeled and obviously hunt down in the Legoland Windsor playlist, because there is quite a lot going on. Now, the other biggest thing that they are in the process of doing is getting from, or say I say getting from, is getting around the Viking River Splash. Now, when that video gets uploaded, it is going to be a comparison video of what it used to look like to what it is now, because the difference is amazing, and it'd be very, very interesting to see what they're going to be doing with it. Now, obviously, I think they shut it down for a couple of different reasons. A big reason is how much power is needed to generate that ride, because some theme parks in the UK, they has to distribute the power as they go around. It's much more complicated than what it needs to be, but again, when everything is running full peak, the amount of power drawage for that ride is ridiculous. The next thing is the new health and safety measurements that had to be brought in for those kind of rides, because if you notice, there was lots and lots of members of staff sat all the way around the outside of the ride because of the accident that happened in a different country, which was non-Legoland related, but it was that kind of ride where somebody thought it'd be a good idea to stand up, and then they got knocked into the water, and then ever since then, Legoland Windsor turned all of their stuff down, as did a lot of the other parks around the world. So it'd be very interesting to see what they're going to do with that ground, because that area is absolutely enormous. There is a huge potential to do some bits and pieces there. It is a main artery into the park as well. So as you first come in and wrap it around the shop, that is the S bend that you come down. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what they do with regards to, are they going to put another ride there? Are they going to try and cut across, because you've got the big tram system that comes down there, so that might not be the easiest thing to do. Are they going to do it as a walkthrough attraction? Are they going to put it as multiple buildings? It is going to be very, very intriguing, because I think whatever they do, they're going to have to gut the whole area, which is massive. Because when you actually start to walk around it, you actually see, when the boards are up, just how much space and real estate that ride actually took up. So they might potentially be able to put multiple things there, but we will see. But you can see that we picked up the signs for Heathrow already, so you're really not that too far. And then obviously we merge, get on the motorway for a short while, get off the junction quite quickly, and then you are good to go. So you can see, simple enough. So we just join the motorway, and we just keep going with regards to, I think it's only a junction or two after, and then you're there. So it's not that bad. So if you don't like the motorway driving, but you're quite close to the Legoland Windsor, then this will be the worst bit for you. But of course, to get to Legoland Windsor, there are lots of different routes that you can take. It's in a quite half decent location, to be honest. It's not too bad, but so 7 miles, I think she just said that we're on here for. But again, just keep checking Google Maps and everything else, because they are doing a huge amount of roadworks along the way, and sometimes it can take a little bit longer than expected. So I did have Google Maps on when I was walking around the actual theme park, just to make sure that there's no accidents or anything like that. So I did give myself plenty of time, because obviously worst case scenario is you're walking around Legoland Windsor, and then you only give yourself the minimum amount of time needed, and of course there's an accident, and then you are panicking when you get to the other end. But no, it was just a nice gentle cruise. So we have got less than 20 minutes left, I do believe. A good chunk of that is obviously driving round the outskirts of Heathrow anyway, with regards to all the different lengths of car parks. So we are going to be going directly to the long stay T2, T3, and then if you want to pick up where we left off and how the airport looks and all of the different travel bits and pieces, get over to the secondary channel for the Global Life. If not, just keep your eyes peeled for the rest of the bits and pieces from Legoland Malaysia. We've then got Legoland Dubai as well, that'll be uploaded. Loads of different airport Lego stores and Lego shops. And we also have some really nice shops outside Universal at Singapore as well, where we had their flagship, get my teeth in, flagship store, there we go, eventually got it, at Singapore, and again in Abu Dhabi. So we have got lots and lots of different models to have a look at, and they did look very, very good indeed. So I'm excited to share those with you. So if you do like your Lego stores, there's lots of those to come. And again, if you want to see more different travel bits and pieces, keep your eyes peeled for lots and lots of stuff on the other channel, and again on here as well. The Miniland from Legoland Malaysia is up, so if you want to see that and do a comparison with the one from Windsor, then obviously hunt down the different videos in the different playlists. But this channel now for the rest of the year is going to be very, very heavy with regards to Lego stores and different Legoland content, hence the name Brick Life Travels, because I will be traveling to different conventions, different Legoland parks around the world, the different Lego stores, and of course I'll keep you up to date with the disaster series of my own Lego city as well. And then from time to time, maybe closer to Christmas, I'll go back to some Lego comparison videos with regards to the Lego sets. But I am looking forward to doing some Legoland comparison videos with regards to either history of the park, of what used to be there, or just comparing two identical areas. I say identical areas, identical themes, and then just seeing how completely different they are. So for example, Legoland Germany, seeing what that looks like compared to, for example, Mythica at Windsor, and then you've got the big Mythica with a huge roller coaster, I do believe, which is the first of its kind at Legoland Germany, and it'd be interesting to see what next Legoland takes up that sort of ride. We're then tracking down all of the different Ferrari play and build zones, and each one of them has a huge Ferrari, life-size Ferrari built at the front, and we're ticking those off as we go. So we've got lots and lots of comparison videos to come, but they will start to appear towards the end of the season, so you can then sort of get a good understanding of just how different everything is. Again, we can do that with all the different mini lands. So I am hoping to hit 5 different Legoland parks this year, and so far we've done 3. So we haven't done too bad for the start of 2024. 2 more, and then we've ticked them off. What 2 they're going to be, not 100% sure. I don't know if it's going to be New York, I don't know if it's going to be Billund, I don't know if it's going to be Germany, but keep your eyes peeled because we have got lots and lots of good stuff to appear on this channel. Now you can see again when this is very, very busy with regards to the road, just keep your eyes peeled to the bits and pieces overhead, because 2 lanes will go one way, 1 lane will go the one way. You don't want to get this bit wrong. That is the only problem. So just keep your eyes peeled if you don't like it. And obviously when it is busy, or especially at night, it can be a little bit tricky, and there is always one person in a rush. But you can see 1 lane goes one way, 1 lane goes 2 other ways, and 3 lanes go the other way. So it does get a little bit fruity quite quickly, but then you're well away. So obviously we're looking for T2, T3, and of course if you're just thinking of going to the airport and not doing Legoland, and again mentioning the other channel, there is already different accommodation uploads on that channel that you can get from the hotel straight to the airport in about 10 minutes. So if you... There we go. So she's now told us which way we're going, which is good. So yep, you just got to be careful. But if you didn't want to do Legoland and you're the kind of person that wants to stay quite close to the airport the night before, there are a few good options. Because you've got a couple of different service stations that you can stay at. There's 2 actually in the same services. One is slightly cheaper than the other, and they're over the road from each other, but the quality of each is exactly the same, which is always a little bit weird and wonderful. Or you can drive a little bit closer, and then it starts to get a little bit more pricey because of obviously you're a little bit closer. The only thing I would say is just make sure that the hotel that you stay at includes parking, because I've stayed at a Premier Inn, which was a fantastic Premier Inn. I do believe it was a Premier Inn 4T2 and T3, and it was about 4 minutes away from the actual long stay parking. So I would do that again in a heartbeat. But you did have to pay for parking beforehand, so you've just got to bear that in mind. So the total price of the hotel room, you do have to add on about £12 for the parking, and then don't forget you've then got to pay for your parking for the long stay as well. Of course, you could just get a bus, which would be nice and simple to do, and then you wouldn't have to worry about all of that kind of thing. So you do have plenty of different options available if you want them. Now you can see now we are basically getting off at this point, so for the next 14 minutes it is now getting to T2, T3. So that middle section didn't take long whatsoever. Now I have done this already, I do believe, when I've... So this section here, which I've done in the past, has been bottlenecked up. Now you are in a ULEZ zone as well, so you will get charged again for clean air if you're not in a clean air vehicle. Luckily I am, so it's absolutely fine. But from here now, it's everything to do with Heathrow. So you can see the signs. You've got Heathrow. And this is the bit you don't want to get wrong. You want to stay where I am, because if you're in the lane across from me, you're stuffed, because you then carry on the road that I've just got off. But you can see you've got 3 going forward, 2 to the right, and of course 2 then went to the left. So again, just take your time as you're driving around. That always feels a little bit weird when you see the cars come tearing around, but it goes from 3 lanes to 4, and then you are absolutely fine. So it's nothing to worry about whatsoever. And then you now just basically follow the signs for the car park that you want. So you pick up the car park for short stay, long stay. I think you've got them for all of the business as well. So this is the main artery going in. And of course, you've then got a bus lane, which that bus isn't using, which is always fun and fantastic. But you can see, just follow the signs up at the top, hunt them down, go where it is that you want to go. There was a parking sign, hence why I'm now going over behind this, because that is the lane you needed to be in for the parking. And then I do believe we then come up to a roundabout, we ping off one of the roundabouts, and then you just sort of snake it round. Now don't get confused with the drop off, because if you go under, when you get to Tunnel Road that she's just mentioned, you need to turn left. If you just drive in a straight line into the Tunnel Road itself, well, you then end up going down to the actual drop off, which potentially the sat nav is thinking where, which is where potentially she was thinking. So we don't want the A4, we want this lane straight over this roundabout. Then you take the first left at the next roundabout. As you can see, it says welcome to Heathrow. So we wrap it round here, and then we go left. I have made this mistake before, where, because it looks like that lane is closed, because it says road closed, but that is actually for something else. So now she's going to direct us to the actual car park, which is fantastic. I have done it before, where she's actually taken me down the tunnel road, because I thought I plugged in T2, T3, and I hadn't quite done the right thing. And that's where it gets a little bit emotional, because you've then got to try and get in and back out again without getting charged, because you've got all these different drop-off bits and pieces for £5 here and whatever else it is now. So you've just got to be a little bit clever. But if you've got your sat nav on, or you've got Google Maps, she will not be quiet now until you get to where it is that you need to go. But you can see you've got all the sorts of different car parking to the left hand side, and then you've got all the airport space to the right hand side. So Heathrow really is enormous. It is a huge thing just to get around. So we are now basically driving further and further away from T2, T3, because this is the way the bus will come back down. So you've got those big buses there that you will get on for the National Express, or you do have other buses, which is this one just here now to the right hand side. That is the bus you get on, and that would then take you to the different terminals, and it obviously pick you up from all of the different parking. So if you have never ever seen just how big Heathrow is before, it is mind-boggling that this airport is so big, but yet it is so easy to navigate. As long as you give yourself enough time, you got 5 different huge terminals, all with its own parking, all with its own bus system, and all with its own different selection of flights to get out and to do different things. So you are basically spoiled if you're very, very close to this airport, because this is one of the airports where it is actually the cheapest to fly out from, which is never a bad thing at all. But again, it's just nice and easy for me just to get there, do some different bits and pieces, and just to get around. And then looking out the window as I'm doing this voiceover now with just how bad the actual weather is, I am looking forward to getting away somewhere nice and sunny again, and where it is nice and warm. But yes, we are still trying to find the T2, T3. I do believe we've got to go through a couple of different sets of lights. We'll then get to a big roundabout. At that roundabout, you will see some enormous British Airways planes. That is where they do all their repairs. And then from there, I say repairs and services, and I think they might do some spray work there as well. And then we'll wrap it round, and then we'll just get into the actual car park itself. And that is where the next video on the next channel will pick off from as well. But you can see loads of different buses taking people absolutely everywhere. This whole land has lots of different bits and pieces to the left hand side that you can also park in. Now if you're wondering what the difference is between the long stay and the short stay is with regards to cost and ease, the short stay, I do believe, is in walking distance. It's in a multi-storey car park. You literally park up and then you walk to the terminal. So it costs a little bit more, but obviously you just have to get on a bus that runs every 15 minutes, and it takes about 10 minutes to get to T2, and then it adds on another, say, 6 minutes to get to T3. So it's not that bad. So again, if you give yourself plenty of time, you will be absolutely living the dream, and you won't have anything to worry about whatsoever. And you can see the big planes coming in on the right-hand side. To the left-hand side now is actually all hire cars. So there's lots and lots of different hire cars. So I would imagine that is where you would either pick them up or return them from. So you do have a bit of a trek. So there's Avis and Budgeon and all that kind of thing. So you have a bit of a trek from the airport to get there. So I've never had to hire one in the UK, so I don't know how easy that is compared to others. And again, you've got a multi-storey car park. So you've got a multi-storey car park there to the left-hand side. Now, directly in front of us, and to the right is to the airport. In front of us, we have the big British Airways. That's where all the big planes are. And now to the left-hand side, we are picking up the signs for the long stay car park, and then that's where it starts to get a little bit funny, because it is quite difficult to actually find a space, because they had blocked off 2 letters to resurface. But when I landed again, some of the cars were still in there, so they've obviously got to wait for everybody to return, because obviously people could be away for 4 to 6 weeks at a time, which is very, very expensive when it comes to parking, because I do believe it's like £14 a night, so that soon adds up. But we've just got a little drive now in a straight line. See that massive plane on the left hand side just coming in? That's how close they are as they fly over our heads. So we're 28 minutes into 34 minutes, so it won't be too much longer now. I'm about to indicate and turn left. Now, because it's prepaid, it will just spit a ticket out at you, and then you just go straight through the barrier, so it already knows your reg, which is ideal. There we go. So we are now there. So right, she can be quiet now. So we will then just get the ticket. I've got the ticket, put it on the dash, and then we are good to go. You don't need your ticket with you, and you don't need to do anything with the ticket on the way back out either. Yes, that car somehow, even though it came into the parking bay after me, beat us through, but I think that was a member of staff, so they must have a secret thing that they push. But you can see, starts off at A, wraps around. We do a full loop. I was hoping to park where I normally park, because it's easy enough to remember, and that happened to be the parking bay that was closed, which is never the easiest. But there was, to be honest, a lot of bays available in the middle, but it just looked like it was full as we start to wrap around. But we've only got a couple of minutes left. So if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Again, let us know if this is helpful, and if you do want to see more helpful videos like this, head over to the other channel with regards to hotels, accommodations, all that kind of thing. For all of the different Lego videos, and of course all of the different Legoland parks around the world, this is the channel that you need. So this is hopefully just helpful if you are thinking you didn't know how long it was to get from the airport to Legoland Windsor, or vice versa. Now you do. So it's not that bad, but you can see that you've got a lot of staff parking here, and I was going to go in a straight line, and that was actually blocked off. So E, you couldn't park in because they were doing some resurfacing work there, and then when I went back round on the bus, you was only a handful of cars still left. And I do believe that they ended up actually parking people in the staff car park, because at one point it did get quite busy as well. So it did get to the point where I was thinking, oh, do I need to do a double loop, or am I going to be okay? And I think I end up having to do a double loop, and then we end up just parking up where we need to park up. But you don't need to see that. You've seen the tour of the car park. I just overshoot the bit to the right-hand side where that JCB wagon is there to the right-hand side, because you can't go left because F was also closed. But just to the right-hand side is where I end up going in, and then I end up parking up absolutely no problem. So this bit here to the right-hand side is where I end up going in on the second loop, and I park absolutely fine. But you can see you can't enter to the left hand side either, so I was getting a little bit confused, thinking is there actually any way I can get in, but I was just being silly. So one more time, guys, if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you next one. Ta-da.